Shalom. First off, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahar. I want to give double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS who have taught us this word and teach us this word today. And I want to give a salutation unto the elect of the nation of Israel. This is the brother Yatazakba with the GMS Nebraska camp. And in this lesson, what I want to get into is how we are getting closer and closer to the prophecy of the mark of the beast coming to pass. The mark is already here in certain aspects, and we're going to look at it in this lesson. One aspect you have Neuralink, for example, which are brain chips that are placed in people's brains. And when you read about it in Revelation chapter 13 verse 16, it reads about a mark placed in your right hand or in your forehead. So the Neuralink, the Synchron, Stentrode, all these different companies that want to bring as they call it, brain-computer interfaces. This is a fulfillment of this prophecy. And as we get closer and closer to this prophecy coming to pass, we have to measure the times diligently in itself to see, and we're going to read about the prophecy here shortly, but, we're looking out into the world. We're seeing the different companies that are coming, the different technologies that are being brought to pass, the legislations, the plays that are being set up so that this mark of the beast system can be put in fruition and made mandatory worldwide. This is why we see the leaders of this world moving to a digital system. This is why China is under a social credit system, under a surveillance state. This is why you have the Prime Minister of the UK, which we're going to get into an article on this, but this is why the Prime Minister of the UK is saying that now you need a digital ID, or soon you're going to have a digital ID mandatorily if you want to work. These things that I'm naming, such as what's placed in China, what the Prime Minister wants to do in the UK, these things aren't the mark in it of itself, but they are moving toward that system. Because what is the mark going to be used for? It's going to be used for total control. Because that's what Esau Edom wants, the so-called white man who rules this world today. As the scriptures say in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 4, it says, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called the Most High, that is worshipped, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. Ultimately, Esau, who is ruling this world today, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. The scriptures tell us that Edom is the border of wickedness. And as he's ruling this world today, Esau wants to rival Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. This is why, the ways of righteousness isn't upheld in this world. Esau pushes his science. Esau pushes his religions, his ideas, his way of life upon the people, and acts as if that is the righteous way to live. But with this mark, what Esau wants to do is that he wants to, hold all power over all the people on this earth. When, we are all the Most High's creation. When the Most High is all powerful, that's what his name means, Yahweh. He is in all. He exists. He is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent. And what Esau wants to do is that he wants to encapsulate all these things through the technology that he is able to bring about. So that is how he is opposing and exalting himself above all that is called the Most High. Because Esau, through his God complex and through the power of his technology, wants to be the Most High. And so when we're looking out into the world and we see, all these different leaders of these countries, they're not, the all-powerful people over the countries and the regions that they rule over. They have people over them that they do the bidding of, such as these small hats, such as the elite banking families of Esau who truly rule this world, the people that we don't see. And what they want them to do is ultimately they want to bring about their New World Order, the Great Reset, which is going to be, the mark of the beast is going to be a centerpiece toward the New World Order that, the elite of Esau, the elites that rule over this earth today will have ultimate control over the people on this earth. And so that's why we see these different leaders, we see Trump pushing towards a CBDC system with the stable coins, with all these technocrats that are in Trump's cabinet, that are pushing toward tracking devices and digital currency and digital systems. So let's go ahead and get into Revelation chapter 13. And I want to start at verse 14 because there are going to be two main ways that people are going to be funneled into the system of receiving the MOTB. One of them is going to be by way of coercion or being deceived and being deceived by all the different miracles that this technology can do. The conveniences that it brings people in their lives. That's going to be one way that Esau fools a lot of people into getting it and thinking that it's something beautiful. And another thing is that Esau is going to force it upon the people. And I want to grab a couple articles in this lesson that shows both aspects of Esau funneling everybody into this system. So first, let's go to Revelation chapter 13, verse 14, which says, "And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live." So first, let's speak on these miracles which Esau has power to do in the sight of the beast. What are those miracles speaking about? Well, what are miracles? Let's look at what our Lord Yahweh Shai did in the Gospels, the miracles that he did when you had, people that couldn't walk. He gave them the ability to walk. You had the blind. He gave them the ability to see. When people couldn't speak, he gave them the ability to talk. He healed people. Same with our disciples. And it was all through the power that, it was all through the Holy Spirit. It was all through the power that Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai is able to give. But Esau wants to be able to emulate that power through his technology. And we see that through this Neuralink system and companies like it that are giving people the ability to, if they are paraplegics, now they can move their bodies again and live life like a normal person through what? The Neuralink chip. So let's go to this article from Mirror Station, en.as.com. which says the waiting list for Neuralink implants explodes after this feat by a man with sclerosis. Now, this is a very important aspect of what I want to get into in this article. Not only are we going to talk about the miracles that Esau is able to give, but we're going to get into how people are falling for it, because there's a huge waiting list for people who are suffering from different bodily ailments, different mental dysfunctions, physical dysfunctions. And now you have thousands of people who are joining these Neuralink trials, who are seeing the different advertisements and the different examples of the first couple patients. At first, it was just 1-2 people who had the Neuralink, and they were going through their different trials and showing the examples of what they can do. They can move a computer mouse with their brain and do these different things. But now you have thousands of people who are in line waiting to get this technology, and it's showing how people are going to worship this system, or going to worship this new world order that Esau is bringing about because of the different things that he's able to do. So let's get into it. It says, in recent days, the name Nick Ray, a man diagnosed with ALS, has been trending on social media after a video went viral showing him feeding himself using a robotic arm controlled by his mind. Isn't that a miracle? To be able to telepathically control a robotic arm and feed yourself. You don't have to raise a finger. It says, thanks to a Neuralink brain implant. It says his feat has sparked a wave of hope that has caused the waiting list for this procedure to skyrocket. And that's the thing. Esau, through this system that he's going to bring, whether it's through these brain chips or it's through, getting it in your hand, even if you aren't suffering from any ailments, Esau is bringing and going on the, he's bringing the narrative of this technology being beautiful for life, it being healing, it being convenient, it being, it bringing safety and order. And that is what is going to cause a lot of people to, want this technology. You have a crowd that see this technology and know that it's the mark, and they know that something ain't right about it. But you're going to have a lot of people that want the technology because of all the different things that Esau gives the ability to do, and you know, how it's going to quote unquote help people's lives. But truly, it's wickedness. You know, as the scriptures say, you know, let's go to Sirach chapter 12 and verse 10, which says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Esau is going to do wickedly. And one of the things that he does, it says that his words are smoother than butter. You know, he is going to seem like he has good intentions. And the whole time he's pushing this technology and acting like it's for the betterment of the world, acting like it's some solution to make the world better. What it's really for is so that Esau can have total control over this planet. You know, that's what it's all about. It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust had not been altogether wiped away. Esau he's bringing a gift, and it seems like it's for everybody's betterment, but that gift is truly, you know, for his benefit. And you know, once you get it, you are basically branding yourself as cattle, a part of his system. But let's go back to the article real fast. It says, in the images, Ray precisely directs the mechanical arm to eat from a plate. I'll be able to talk with my hands again, he said with a laugh, as the arm adjusted its movement with a naturalness that seemed impossible just a few years ago. You know, and the thing is, the Lord has given Esau the ability to do this. The scriptures say, let's go to Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 2. Yep. Ezekiel 28 and 2, it says, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God, I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas. Yet thou art a man and not the Most High, though thou set thine heart as the heart of the Most High. Speaking on that God complex again. But what is causing him to have that God complex? But let's read. It says, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches and has gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. So through the wisdom that the Lord has allowed Esau to amass, and through this technology and this science that that the Most High has allowed Esau to gain, it has puffed Esau up. It's given him pride to think that Esau is doing it himself, or that now, you know, he has perfected and created a system that is better than what the Most High has ordained on the earth. You know, and because Esau has been so successful in his enterprise and in his society, now his heart is lifted up, but the Lord is going to cast him down ultimately. It says back in the article, it says the chip converts brain signals into Bluetooth commands that translate into real-time actions, allowing external objects to be controlled with thought. You know, so let me see. You know, that's really the point of the article, you know, and you know, we see the miracles that is being brought with this technology. But the part that really stands out for me is that now a lot of people are looking at this technology and saying, you know what, I'm with that. I want that. You know, and the people that are signing up, you know, for this Neuralink are people who, quote unquote, need the technology, you know, people who are suffering from different, ailments. But you have people who aren't suffering from these different ailments, and they want the technology because of, you know, all the things that it can do. We look in Sweden, and you have thousands of people who have this technology in their hand. And what are they able to do? They're able to, their card, their payment card information is on it. Their, the keys to their house and to their cars. You know, they can just wave their hand and unlock their doors, wave their hand and pay for what they need. You know, and the thing is, the angle that they use is that what? You can't lose anything with this technology. You can't get your information stolen. It's secure, it's safe, it's fast. And that's not necessarily speaking on the miracles like this Neuralink is, but it is still within that same vein of, the miraculous power that Esau is able to give by this technology and people falling for it and wanting it for that aspect of it. So let's go back to Revelation chapter 13 and verse 14. We'll read 14 again. Or we'll read verse 15. It says, "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed." Now, what is the image of the beast? Well, we've spoken about it. The image of the beast isn't a picture of white Jesus. The image of the beast is a way of life. It's philosophies. It's Esau's democracy. It's Esau's science. It's Esau's, belief on how the family structure should be, on what love should be. And the thing is, the Most High Yahweh has everything set up on, life in the Most High's image, and how he not how he believes things should be, but how things should be, how the Most High framed life to be in his image. But Esau wants to frame life in his image. And that's why when you see all these different things, whether it's government, science, culture, way of thought, all these different things, it's contrary to what the Most High has set up scripturally. And so when we go back to it, it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now, how are those who don't worship the image of the beast? It says that they should be killed, which is saying that if you don't get down with Esau's society and his way of life, that, that there's a penalty that's going to come with it. Now, in this precept, it says that they should be killed, which that is literal in some aspects. We're going to get to a point to where, us in this truth, we're going to deny this system that Esau is bringing. We're not going to get his MOTB or keep his ways when it's required for you to walk in his way to, prosper in this life, and because we hold this testimony of Yahweh Shai, that's why we're going to stand 10 toes down. And Esau is going to be putting some of us to death for that testimony. But not only is it that you will literally be killed for denying Esau's image and not worshiping his system. Well, let's get into that word killed and get some more insight, which is Strong's G 615, which says to kill in any way, whatever, to destroy, to allow to perish, to extinguish, abolish. But let's get into the root, which is Strong's G 575, which means of separation, of local separation. After verbs of motion, from a place, of departing, of fleeing. So that word killed isn't just literally being killed, but you will also be separated from society, to where what Esau wants to bring is a society where everything hinges off of this MOTB. And that's why everything is going into a digital system, so that everything that you need to be identified, everything that you need to use the internet, everything that you need to buy and sell, everything, all aspects of how we live life as we know it in Esau's system will be tied to this MOTB. And so if you don't get it, if you don't worship the image of the beast, if you don't fall into it, then you will be separated from society. And so this is the second aspect that I wanted to get into. Now, so you have the aspect that a lot of people are going to get this MOTB because they are going to be, wooed by Esau's, miracles and the different things that you can do. But a lot of people are going to get it because they're going to be forced to, and they're not going to have any choice. And so what's an example of us, we're seeing steps being taken toward that in life right now? Well, what's going on in the UK? Because within the UK, it says the UK is introducing, I searched UK forcing digital ID, and this is the AI overview. It says the UK is introducing a digital ID system that will be mandatory for all employees to prove their right to work by 2029. The digital ID will not be a compulsory ID card that citizens must carry daily, but it will be a required part of employment checks. So basically what they're saying right now is that you won't be able to get a job unless you have this digital ID, which is going to force a lot of people to get it. Because if you don't get that digital ID, then how are you going to make your money? How are you going to take care of yourself? Now, again, this digital ID in and of itself isn't the MOTB, but it is an aspect of it. It's it's a step toward it. And they say that this digital ID isn't something that citizens will have to carry daily, but ultimately it will be. Ultimately, these cards, these physical cards that we have, we ain't going to be going to the DMV and getting physical cards, physical IDs. We're going to have to fall into, whatever digital system is created, just like we see happening here in the UK. So it says all UK citizens and legal residents will need a digital ID to prove their right to work, with employers required to check it for new hires. This system is intended to be phased in by the end of the current parliament in 2029. And so let's go to Revelation chapter 13 and go down to 16, which says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. This digital ID system that we see is just a prerequisite for ultimately what they're going to do with the mark, with the RFID chip, to where unless you have that, if you want to get a job, or if you want to get whatever type of universal basic income that is ultimately going to be issued out, if you want to get this digital currency, you have to have this, and they're going to check for it. And if you don't have it, you can't buy or sell. If you need to go to the hospital and you don't have this digital or you don't have this mark, that's how we check in now. And if you don't have it, then you can't get checked in. If you need to take a flight somewhere, if you need to take the bus somewhere, if you need to buy anything, if you need to whatever you need to do, it's going to be with that mark. So that's why it says he calls it all. He's going to force people to have it. And so it says small and great, whether you're just an everyday citizen in society, or whether you're a celebrity, rich and poor, no matter what social status you are, free and bond, whether you're in prison or not. This is going to be a global overarching system within this new world order that Esau wants to set up. And it says that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And so the thing is, Esau already has, we look in China and he has the surveillance state set up there. He has the social credit system set up there. But ultimately he wants it to be under the skin, because you can hide from you can get around these different systems that are set up. Right now, people can still use cash. There's still things under the table that can be set up. If you have a digital ID that's tied to your phone, you can throw your phone away. There's things that you can do to exit out of Esau's system and make it somewhat as it stands right now. And so with the MOTB, what that's going to cut all that short. He's going to try to track everybody down and force everybody to take it. And the thing is, for us believers, when that time comes, we have to continue to deny it. We have to continue to fight against it. Because let's go to that word mark, and we're going to show why this thing is wicked, why we need to deny it. Let's go to Strong's G5480, which is the Greek word for the word mark, which is charagma. It says a stamp, an imprinted mark. Of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the anti-Messiah. The mark branded upon horses. Thing carved, sculpture, graven work of idolatrous images. So ultimately this mark, you're basically saying that you're a part of Esau's system. You don't belong to the Most High Yahweh no more. Esau is your God. The system that Esau has set up, you concede to that, and not, how Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai wants you to walk. The mark branded upon horses, it says. You brand a horse, you brand a slave, you put a tag on somebody to show who this thing belongs to, who this slave belongs to, who this horse belongs to. And so when you get that mark, when you get that RFID chip, you are stamping yourself as cattle belonging to Esau's system. You don't belong to the Most High no more. You belong to Esau. And we are not to fall in line with what Esau is setting up. And the thing is, Esau is going to make life very hard to live without it, but we got to have faith that the Most High is going to take care of us even in the midst of the troubles. The scriptures say, strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. The scriptures say, my servant shall eat. Even when Esau is, even in the face of death, where it's either you take this chip or you get put to death. We have to look at the examples that have been set for us in the scriptures. The woman with her 7 sons, where they didn't concede to the Roman emperors. They didn't concede to the Roman Empire, even in the face of tortures and death. They stayed 10 toes down for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And there's a reward that comes with that. This is Revelation chapter 2 and verse 10, which says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. And those 10 days isn't a literal span of time of 10 days. It could be, any time period. It could be shorter than 10 days. It could be 10 days, or it could be longer than 10 days. But what we understand is that however long those of us who are imprisoned will be in prison, it will be to test us. It will be to see if we break and bow the knee to Esau. It says, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. And so we want to be found written in the book of life. We don't want to be those that are that concede to Esau's system, because there is a shame and a destruction that comes with it, and we won't see salvation on this first go around when the Lord returns to to destroy Esau's system. Revelation chapter 14 verse 9, it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Because Esau's kingdom will be destroyed. It's prophesied the same way that this MOTB system is prophesied, the same way that all the prophecies that we speak about are coming to pass. Esau's destruction and the disappointment of the system that he is setting up will come to pass. And so knowing that it will fall, that means that we have to keep a spiritual mind and keep in the faith of knowing that this prophecy is going to come to pass. Because if we fall to Esau's system because he's taken away the comforts and the things that we quote unquote need to take care of us in this life, and bar it behind his new world order system, that means that we fell to the flesh. Because the flesh isn't going, the carnal mind is not going to be focused on the prophecies. The carnal mind isn't going to be focused on the fact that this is all temporary and that this is about to fall. That even though Esau has this world in his hand, he has this system of control set up, that the Lord is going to disappoint it. We have to stay spiritual. Because that will allow us to keep that at the forefront of our minds, even in a time where it will be as difficult as it will be. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Baruch Harkadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS and the salutation.